Hello, my name is Wayne Perry, the TV Carpenter, and welcome to Daily DIY. It seems that everybody is doing painting, finally doing all those painting jobs in their house, and I've had so many requests and questions for information about what paint type to use and how to undercoat. So firstly, undercoating. If you're painting brand new plaster or brand new timber, brand new wood, you need to do something called a mist coat. Now, a mist coat, what that does is those timber or plaster is porous, so it lets moisture soak into it. So if you painted some emulsion, you painted a wall and you didn't do a mist coat and you just used your general emulsion, what would happen is the water from the paint will be sucked out, and it'd make your painting all chewy. And it's same for your timber work. But what's worse for plasterboard walls is what happens is the paint then just sits on the top of the plaster. So it doesn't penetrate into the plaster, it just sits. This is if you don't do a mist coat. And then eventually down the line, it'll just peel off like a big face mask. It'll all peel and fall away. So you must do a mist coat. That's if it's plaster. If it's wood, again, because it's porous, it draws the moisture out of the paint and it stops the paint going chewy. So how you do a mist coat is you pour some of that paint, the water-based paint you're using on the walls or on the wood, and then you add about 10-15% water. So you make it really, really runny, and use that as your undercoat and your mist coat. And then what's quite good is because it's the same colour that you're going to be finishing off with anyway, it's like you're giving it 2 or 3 coats by the end. So I normally do 1 or 2 undercoats and then finish it with a top final coat. Types of paint. On your walls, on your emulsion walls like the one behind me, you have things like matte. Matte is great, it's a real flat finish, but bear in mind it shows up finger marks. So if you've got kids and it's a high traffic area, matte will look great for the first time you do it, but as soon as you touch it with a greasy finger, it'll showcase that. Then you have silk and soft sheen. That's better for high traffic areas. It's got a better finish to it. It means you can wipe them. So that's generally what you would use for emulsion walls. For your paintwork, things like your doors and your skirtings, you used to back in the day use gloss. People don't use gloss so much anymore because it used to be oil-based and it smelled quite a lot. So they tend to use a water-based gloss, and it's really shiny and quite reflective and really hard wearing. But you can get really good water-based glosses now. So I recommend using that. But a lot of people use satin and eggshell. It has a sheen to it. It's not as shiny as gloss, but it has a sheen to it and it's very protective. So it's perfect for your skirtings or your doors on high traffic area. I've had a lot of people ask me at the moment about using gloss on ceilings or on walls. Generally, it's not done, but at the moment there's a trend for it because it looks really good. I've seen a lot of hallways where they'll use the same colour throughout the hallway, but the low level, they'll create a different feel by using the low level all being in a gloss finish, like a 90% shiny, so it looks very different, but it's the same colour. You can do that. Please make sure it's a water-based one. It is tricky to paint over, so your decorator won't like you when it comes to redecorating, but you can give it a sand, and then you would have to stain block it using like a Zinza, a bin Zinza. But also be aware that anything with a sheen or particularly gloss, your walls have to be perfect. If there's any imperfections on your wall, any lumps and bumps, things aren't quite smooth, it will reflect them and show them up. So you really have to be aware of that. And the flip side of this, if your walls aren't great, you've got quite a lot of lumps and bumps and you haven't managed to sand them all perfectly smooth, you're best going towards a matte, towards a duller finish, because then it'll just totally blend in and you won't see it. So there's a quick rundown on paint finishes and undercoats. If you thought this was helpful, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it's beneficial towards you. And if you have any other questions for me, just contact me at thetvcarpenter.com. And like I always say, you can go from that website, link through to the DIY Doers Club, where there's a load of people there waiting to help you on the Facebook group there if you have any other questions. Thank you for listening to me, Wayne Perry, the TV Carpenter.